really throughout southeast Michigan. I have been blessed to be able to travel throughout the region, and I'm impressed everywhere I go with the type of entrepreneurialism and creative innovation that's happening here in the greater Detroit area. You know, I had an opportunity not too long ago to be out in Silicon Valley, and folks were showing us all the stuff there, and I said, well, you got to come to Michigan, because everything you have here, we have in southeast Michigan. And it's really an incredible resource that we have, intellectual resource. The fact we've got more engineers than any other region of the country is an incredible powerhouse for us. However, the one thing that I think we are missing here, and you touched on in your opening remarks, is the fact we don't have a regional transit system. When you look at the engine of regional transit everywhere across this country, really across the globe, wherever there has been an investment in regional transit, it's been huge dividends in terms of economic development, transit-oriented development that goes along with that. And we know that it can happen here. This is not theoretical. We're not talking about a theory. We know that every place where those investments have been made, everywhere in the country, there have been those kind of returns, economic development returns. And particularly if we're looking at how we develop the city of Detroit and moving out through the suburbs, bringing us all together as a region. And I'm a big believer that in the greater Detroit region, but the greater Detroit region can only be great if we have a strong and vibrant city of Detroit in the middle of that region. And transit is absolutely critical in order for us to do that and to bring that link going forward. To me, it is both an economic issue and really is a moral issue as well. I mean, I've had the opportunity not too long ago to ride some DDOT buses. I spent a little over 4 hours riding the DDOT bus throughout the city of Detroit. And while I was doing that, I had a lot of conversations with people on the bus and kind of their daily routine and what they go through every day. I heard a lot of stories, as you can imagine. One story in particular I'll share with you because I think it kind of encapsulates what a lot of folks go through when it comes to transit here in the area. There was a woman on that bus who was traveling. She was coming home from work, and she says she basically takes the bus to work each day. She works midnights. She lives in the city of Detroit. She works in the city of Detroit, and it takes her a little over an hour and a half to get to work, all within the city. Then she works all night, and then takes the bus home, an hour and a half to get home. That's when I saw her. And when she gets home, she then makes breakfast for her 2 young daughters as they're waking up. And then she wants to take them to a school across town that is important for her. And then she gets on the bus with them. It takes 45 minutes to get to the school. Then she drops the children off, takes the bus 45 minutes back home. Then she goes to bed. She worked all night. She wakes up, gets on the bus 45 minutes, goes back out to pick up her daughters, and then comes back 45 minutes back. So this one woman spends over 6 hours a day on a bus. 6 hours a day. So here's a lady who has obviously not a whole lot of time to sleep, not a whole lot of time with her children, and basically 0 time for herself. So to me, that is what we're facing here in this community. This is a moral issue for us, that we have people who are trying to play by all the rules, try to get ahead. They simply can't get from point A to point B unless they go through really some very significant challenges in order to do that. And when you have a city of Detroit where nearly 1/3 of the individuals in the city don't have access to an automobile, to me it's a moral issue. That we've got to empower folks, get people to be able to get to work, get from point A to point B, to do it efficiently, and we know the incredible economic development spillover from that for the whole region. And my goal in working with all of you, and appreciate all of you being here, is that when we're looking at transit issues, it's not about just getting people from the city to jobs in the suburbs. It's about bringing jobs to the city as well. It can really transform the whole area, as we know that regional transit can do that. I think we've had some, we've been talking about regional transit in this area for as long as I've been alive, but I think we're really starting to see some of that momentum that's happening right now. Hopefully we can capture that and really move forward. The business community is going to be absolutely essential for that, which I'm so grateful that so many folks from the business community are here. We're seeing the power of coming together as a region as well at the federal level in order to bring federal dollars, which is something that I'm going to be working day in and day out to bring federal money in to have regional transit system. Most recently we got a grant of about $30 million to help in improving the buses between SMART and DDOT, and the reason we got a much bigger grant was because we came together and worked together on that grant proposal where we saw that regional approach, that regional collaboration that brought even more federal money. I know the money is available for us if we come together as a community to build a BRT system. I think we're going to talk about that later. Some folks are going to talk about a BRT system that could be substantial federal money, but we have to get our act together in order to make that happen. I am very encouraged by what I've been seeing in the business community here locally. In fact, I worked with Michelle, we worked on the Detroit Transit Center, and it was a success, bringing in federal money to build the Detroit Transit Center. And those of you who may be familiar with that story know that we got substantial federal money to build the Detroit Transit Center, and then a new mayor council was elected, and they said, well, we don't really want this money. We're going to give it back to the federal government. Let's send it back, after we worked very hard to get millions of dollars here for Troy. I, of course, wasn't real happy when I heard that, as you know, Michelle, and got on the phone immediately to the Department of Transportation. Says, you know, Troy wants to send this money back. I don't want to see it leave the greater Detroit area. What's the process that I use in order to get the money to stay somewhere in southeast Michigan? I have folks in Royal Oak, for example, would love to have it. And so, but the Department of Transportation said, well, you know, quite frankly, Congressman, we don't have a procedure for this because we've never had a city do this ever in history of these grants. This is a competitive grant. Normally, when you win a competitive grant, you're pretty happy to pay. You don't say, now that we won, let's give the money back. But the reason it changed, and the council did an about-face, was the fact that the business community really came together. The chamber was the leader of it. We saw a business community step up, go into those council chambers and say, this is absolutely critical for the economic development, not only of the city of Troy, but for the entire region, in order to be able to really propel this region going forward. It's there. I was certainly encouraged as well from the recent election with the DIA village, you know, that showed that here we have a great cultural jewel in the city of Detroit. It's a cultural jewel not just for the city of Detroit, but for everybody in the greater Detroit region, and the region stepped up together in order to make that a reality. We have to do the same thing. It is an imperative that we do the same thing when it comes to regional transit, which will absolutely transform this area as it has every other region of the country. And we're going to give examples, I think, for Cleveland. We're going to see what's happening in Cleveland along Euclid Avenue and what we can do. I'm very encouraged with the M1 rail and the other projects, but I'm a believer that, you know, M1 rail, as important as that is, it can't just stop at the New Center area. It's got to go from downtown Detroit all the way to the city of Pontiac, and it's got to be all throughout the region. It's got to go. We have to have transit all the way to the Metro Airport as well, like every other major region, and we have to be committed to that. We all have to lock arms and fight for that. So this seminar is part of that bigger process, everybody coming together. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of excitement. I certainly want to do everything I can to keep moving that energy forward, but we're going to need all of us coming together. We are one, and we can make this happen.